So have you guys collected your fair share of Valentine's Day cards and chocolate and
Oh yeah, I'm swimming.
miscellaneous items?
That was fun to say.
I didn't get chocolate. I got a chocolate cake though.
Well, I helped my wife with some backyard, duty. I dug out some roots. That was good.
On days like today, my wife probably doesn't even
Sorry?
even before.
No, we do not, because this is a Linux-based class and we are using GNU tools. Microsoft doesn't have anything to do with that. They would rather not have anything to do with that. Yeah, I would like to run, GNU assembler in Visual Studio. Send that request to Microsoft and see what happens.
You can still put assembler code inside your Visual C++ programs.
In fact, address it to Steve Ballmer, personally. And then after a few times, they will have to reorder chairs. You guys know the reference of that? Steve Ballmer chairs? No? Okay. You guys are not getting it. There was one guy, from Microsoft, and he decided to stop working for Microsoft and decided to switch to another company. Now, normally, if an employee quits, their job, it's nothing to fuss over. I mean, okay, there are plenty of engineers out there, and it's easy to replace. But this guy decided to switch to Google. So the story was, he was in a room with Steve Ballmer, and Steve Ballmer obviously was not happy that he's switching to Google, one of the main competitor, or at least from Microsoft view, is one of the main competitors. And at one point, Ballmer was so angry that he, destroyed a chair in the process. And he denied that, when interviewed. But that's basically how the story goes. And that's why, therefore the chair reference. So send your request to include, the new assembler support in Visual Studio, and then we'll wait for the new chair order from Microsoft. All right. Well, we all know, how Steve Ballmer likes developers, right? You guys don't know that one either?
Yeah. You showed that 3-minute class.
Yes. Just look up Steve Ballmer developers on YouTube, and you'll find, both the original and remixed version.
What do we look up?
It's doing it right now. Steve Ballmer developers, and also there's the monkey dance too. Yep. The link to the homework? Nope. Okay.
Is the one where he's wearing a blue shirt that's all sweaty?
Yes.
Okay. I'll go ahead and bookmark this.
I was going to ask, are we allowed to watch it right now?
Well, but the really interesting thing, there was one time I had a student with the last name of Ballmer, with one L instead of two L's, okay, single L instead of double L. So I didn't really pay attention to the roster. I mean, most of the time I just pass the roll sheet around and see who's missing twice, and then just drop the student. So anyway, after the discussion and showing the monkey dance and developers video and stuff like that, at the end of the class, the student walked up to me and said, "Do you know my last name?" And I said, "No, not really. It's Ballmer." "Oh, okay. Which Ballmer?" "I'm related to Steve Ballmer." And go like, "Okay, great." I didn't say anything. I mean, it's all on YouTube. It's not like I invented those video clips, right? But the really interesting part was at the end of the class. I think it was a P300 class. It's an entry-level programming class. At the end of the class, that guy was asking me how to install Linux on a PS3. Yeah, it was interesting. Midway through the semester, he was coming in and waving his new, brand spanking new Windows Vista, package. It's like, okay, I got this. See if anyone, has this, because I got inside connection and I got this first. So at the end of the semester, he was asking, how do I install Linux on the PS3? Okay. All right.
It would have been funnier if you had said how to install Linux on a Xbox.
Yeah. Now that would be the first thing you want to install on an Xbox is a heatsink. Yep. All right. So this is a new homework assignment. Okay. Now we don't have all the tools for the new homework assignment yet. So this is what we'll go over today. Okay. So I'm hoping that by doing this or arranging my stuff like this, putting the homework up, ahead of the topic, you guys will be, making connections between the homework and also, what we'll be talking about today. All right. Any questions? All right. So let's go ahead and just read the homework description first, because even to set it up, you kind of have to go through this little procedure here. Right-click and download this file, which means do not click it. Okay. If you click it, it may or may not work. So I would just do a right-click, select copy link, save link as. So I'm saving the file. You can save it anywhere you want. Now this part depends on whether you are using a virtual machine or you're running Linux natively. If you're running Linux natively, you can just save it into the folder, the home folder directly, and you're all set. On the other hand, if you're running an emulator and your emulator does not have a browser, which means you're inside a browser using Windows, then you have to save it and then upload it to the virtual machine using WinSCP, FileZilla, or a similar tool. But since this is native, I don't have to do anything really special. I just go to the home folder and click save, and then the file is already downloaded. Now for those of you who have problem downloading this, I think I know the reason. It has to do with not clicking the homework itself. If you go to upcoming events and click this one instead, somehow when you're here, nope, this one works too. I think it has to do with the calendar then. Did anyone still have problems with this, or we are all good? No problems? Okay. So let's go back to the homework and then continue to read the instructions. So once you have it downloaded, and you have, okay, this is a reminder, you have to do everything in this homework assignment as you're using your homework account and not the root user or the default user if you are using the virtual machine. Okay, so you have to log in to your own account first to do this, because otherwise your files will be at the wrong place, and then when you archive it, it'll be under the username or the root name, and I want it to be under your own name. You need to copy this file to the home directory of your homework account. Once copied, run the following command in the home directory in Linux. Okay, so this won't work in Windows. You have to run this command inside Linux, so I'm going to do that with my terminal here. Okay, we can hide this one and use the other one. All right, so there we go. tar ZZVF, the V is optional, you don't have to specify that one, but I just like to specify it so we can actually see what is decompressed from this process. The file name is findit.tar.gz. The extension actually is meaningful. The .gz means it is gzipped, which means it is a compressed file. .tar means it is a tar, which is a tape archive file. In other words, you can have a tape archive file that is not compressed. Okay, without a .gz at the end, you still have an archive file, but it would not be compressed in that case. So it's just a convention. As I said, many times already, the extension really means very little in Linux. So this is it. Okay, it decompresses into a new folder. It creates a new folder called findit, and inside that folder is a new file. It is called findit.s. Are there any questions at this point? Yep.
Yeah, when you were typing in the name, you completed it with a hotkey or something. How'd you do it?
Tab. Yep. Yeah, tab is autocomplete. If there are multiple files with the same beginning, then you have to press tab one more time, or tab. So tab will show you, all the files that start with the initial characters that you type in. So at that point, you can go through that whole thing and go like, oh, okay, I really meant to use this file. You can type some more, and then as soon as it can resolve to a single file, the tab will complete the entire file. So it's pretty handy. It's a very handy feature. Good thing. I mean, you actually observe, the whole thing. Go like, hey, how did you type so fast? No, I did not. I just autocomplete. I believe this feature is also in Windows. The Windows, CLI has this feature now. All right, so this is it. Okay, we have just decompressed everything. Then you have to use cd, change directory to find it. And inside find it, if you use ls, that will show the source file. And when you look into the source file, I use vi, you can use whatever editor you want to use. And, if you want to turn on, syntax highlighting in Vim, you can turn it on. It looks really good on my side, on the projector it doesn't look so good. So I'm going to turn it off. Okay, so this is your homework assignment. Not very complicated. I give you the template of a program. In other words, let me show the line number so I can refer to line numbers. So set and U will turn on line numbers in VI. Very handy feature. What you will have to do is to figure out what you want to replace the question marks with on lines 18, 19, and 20. Those are the only things we can do, is to replace the single question mark with a memory operand on lines 18, 19, and 20. You cannot change anything else in this entire program. All right? So you cannot change, for instance, you cannot change these lines, okay? The definition of these bytes, they have to remain the same. And then when you scroll down, there's a label called check here, and I'll show you why there's a label check here. It comes in very handy. So at that particular label, if you put a breakpoint there, at that point, in the execution of your program, EAX as a register should have a value of gibberish, gibberish, gibberish. Okay? Are there any questions at this point about the objective of your homework assignment? What you're trying to accomplish? Is that okay? All right. So let me just go ahead and do something here. So I'm going to change this program just to illustrate what we can do here. Obviously, this is not the answer, not even close. So don't copy it. What the heck? Okay, those are all labels, right? I mean, they're all valid memory locations. So, as far as I'm concerned, they're good. In fact, I'll just give you guys a hint or something. I don't know. Should I give you a hint? Yeah, I'll give you one hint. Something like that. Okay. So we'll talk about what these things are. What the direct memory operand is. But at this point, I just want the program to assemble so I can show you the debug process. Okay. So I've done my program. I exit out of the editor and save at the same time. I use the assembler to assemble the program. Use the linker to link the executable. And now I can use GDB to find out whether the program is doing what it is supposed to do or not. Okay, so GDB find it. Okay, so great. So the first thing we want to do is to put a breakpoint at check here. So you say B check here. In other words, B, or the command to set a breakpoint, you can specify a line number, but you can also specify a label. So in this case, I'm specifying